Shalom, it's Daniel Stern coming at you from the Netivyah building in downtown Jerusalem. Today is Monday, January 6th, 2025, and this morning there was a terrorist attack in the heart of Samaria, right near the town of Kedumim, which is west of Nablus, west of Shechem, and north of Ariel, in the center of Israel. A white vehicle with terrorists stopped, and a couple of terrorists jumped out, started shooting, jumped back in their vehicle and sped away. Unfortunately, two women in their 60s and a man in his 40s were killed instantly. In addition, a 65-year-old gentleman is wounded severely, and others are wounded at various degrees. I bring this up not because it doesn't happen, not because it's rare, but because just last video I mentioned the terror in Judea and Samaria, and that is the major threat to Israel. That is a threat that could be much worse than October 7 and what the Hamas did. And a lot of the comments were very dismissive, were very much, or, you brought it on yourselves, blah, 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 there's checkpoints, there's this, there's that, occupied lands. But this is the heart of Samaria, the heart of biblical Israel. And this is where we are facing deadly threats daily. Not only that, in the past, I've talked quite a bit about different political ideologies around the world, be it Democrats and Republicans in America, or the situation in South Korea, and people have once again asked, why are you talking about South Korea? Why are you talking about the conservative and liberals and progressives in South Korea? Well, the answer is that the liberal progressive movements, which are very strongly aligned with anti-Semitism around the world, also exist in Israel. And in Israel, the left, which you can look back and see it as early as Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin's government in the 90s, and before that and after that, and it continues. Today it's Yair Lapid, Benny Gantz, Yair Golan. They're the leaders of three parties that some might call them central, I call them left to far left, and their opinion is, their narrative, their goal is a globalization of Israel, an erosion and erasure of Judaism, of Zionism, and of Israel. They strongly support Palestinian causes, whether it's through lawfare or through political moves, and they are strongly in favor of the doomed from the start Oslo Accords, which are the reason that 3 Jews were assassinated today. Because Israel no longer controls the territory, because many people on the left no longer believe in Israel's justification, in the fact that God gave this land to the Jewish people. But you know what? Even if you don't believe that God gave this land to the Jewish people, around the world, as I've mentioned in previous videos, might makes right when it comes to people migrations, and that's been the way throughout history. If not, no one would be allowed to live where they currently live, because none of us have had ancestors in the same place for 5,000 years. Although, to be fair, the Jews are coming pretty close to that. But anyways, the point is that these attacks, which happen daily, are a threat that cannot be ignored, and that the politicians who mainstream media would call far right, extreme right, messianic right, are actually the ones who want to protect the Jewish people. And I mentioned a moment ago that the liberals and the left are fighting against this. Well, an example of that is the fact that nearly the entire staff of the army, I'm talking about major generals and up, is far left in its political ideology, as shown by the fact that once they resign, they join left-leaning parties, period. Almost every one. And just case in point, how does that relate? Well, today, the general in charge of Central Command, in charge of Judea and Samaria, decided to send a large squad of soldiers away from where the terrorist attack happened 10 minutes after, in order to evacuate an illegal settlement of a couple of caravans. That's his priority. Sending the troops away to do nearly irrelevant things instead of protecting the lives of Jews on the streets and in their towns. More, the General Security Service, known as the Shabak, arrested 3 teenagers, 17, 18, and 19, so one is a minor and 2 are not, Jews, for vandalizing a vehicle, which is a crime, and they should be punished. But here's the interesting thing. They chose to restrict their access to lawyers. They have not been able to see lawyers, and that is a move that is reserved for acts of terror and not vandalism. But, unfortunately, the General Security Service today is, as mentioned, like the army, far left, anti-Jewish, anti-settlement, and is, of course, protected by the Supreme Court and the district attorney and the academia and the mainstream media that are all liberal, progressive, anti-Zionist, anti-Jewish, anti-Jewish religion, and have been so for years. And that is why it doesn't even matter who is the Prime Minister of Israel and which party is in power, because the media, the academia, the legal system, whether it's the prosecution or the district attorney, the high court, and all of the expert security advisors are all far left, and consequently are hurting God's people, the Jewish people. So, we started with a report about a heinous terrorist attack that could have been avoided if the troops that were stupidly sent to do irrelevant activities were actually doing their job, but their general is not, his head isn't where it should be. And we're ending with a prayer to you guys to support Israel, support the Jewish people, support God who gave this land to the Jewish people. It appears so many times in the Bible, it is beyond reproach. And if you don't want to support God, hey, that's on you. God bless you. Shalom.